Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, and welcome to the SRF Weekend Warriors presented by Esports. We are down under here at Bathurst at Mount Panorama for another fantastic round of our Spec Racing Sports here on this lovely weekend. Week 11 out of 12. 2 more rounds left in this championship presented by Esports here on Apex Racing TV. I am Austin. I am joined by Charles Michelle with Jonathan Grabowski in the production booth, and you're here live watching Apex Racing TV.
Austin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. This is going to be a fun race. I'm looking forward to this. This is by far my least favorite track. Just simply because I can't drive it.
Many a safety rating has been donated by you to
yes,
those less fortunate here.
I've probably donated several letters during the course of my trials here at Bathurst. That being said, though, it's an awesome track to drive. It's an awesome track to watch racing at. Margins are slim. There's not really a lot of room for error, and so it is. So it's going to be a fantastic race, and it's a war of attrition. This race is always going to be who can survive. So I'm, really interested to see how this race goes.
Yeah, the race is looking very good around here. It's Bathurst. It's going to be a lot of fun, a little bit of chaos at times, but hey, that's kind of why we come here. You never know what's going to happen.
That is the absolute truth. This is a giant question mark on the board every time you saddle up and get ready to drive this track.
The only thing that I can guarantee will not happen is trees falling onto the circuit, Joey's hopping onto the track, and somebody pulling out of their garage at a very bad time and entering the circuit.
Yeah. It's a good part about digital racing is we don't have to worry about the wildlife deciding they're going to graze beside the track or run across or run with the cars.
Yeah, I think that's the one part of iRacing that I do not, that I'm very okay with that being left out of the immersion.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, no kangaroos will be harmed in the making of this race.
Red Lobsters, though, they're on the endangered list.
They are indeed on the endangered list.
Yeah, Yorgmani breaking the news that this is his, possibly his last race with a Red Lobster livery, so we don't know if he's selling his Red Lobster franchise or investment or something. But the Red Lobster is going away, so he's looking to make this a very fun send-off for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the one thing. Obviously, the car is extremely unique. I can, just doing the broadcast for a very short period of time. His car, Megan Overstreet's car, Chris Murakami's car, I can pick out from the wide shot, from the blimp. I always know which car I'm looking at. So if he's gonna switch up at the last minute, it'll be interesting to see what that new paint scheme is going to look like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens with York's Monix car. Currently, his rival, though, Antonio Reese, is standing up on top of pole position right now, overall and in the Masters as well. And it's a pretty sizable gap to Paolo Gori right behind him.
Yeah, I mean he's put us he's put a great lap out there. Only car in the 25s. Obviously, as you said, Masters. He's running. I think we'll have to get to the points in a minute, but I think he's in the top 2 or 3 in the Masters championship positions. So he's setting himself up for a really good race.
It really is, and though the best part about starting up front at Bathurst is you avoid all the chaos behind you. When you get about 3 to 4 rows deep, it's going to just be parking lot simulator at a time. You just got to test your patience and don't try to force anything, or else you're going to trigger a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey. Yeah, as you see the 267 car, 297 car, Gould, coming up through the cutting. If they're not single file by the time they get there, there's going to be a problem, right? That is the first real pressure point on the track. Everybody thinks you can pass there. I've never really seen it done successfully for any stretch of time.
I have been past there. It was not clean because I ended up in the wall and then over the edge.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole thing. It's just because of the way the track's designed. When you get into the cutting, it's just basically single lane because it's got that little shallow kink right before, and you want to float the car out for your entry. And so anybody that thinks they can just kind of go up the inside usually runs out of room. They either bounce it off the inside wall or bounce it off the car on the outside.
Indeed. And as qualifying is currently got 5 minutes remaining, let's take a look at our points. So starting up on pole is Marco Pinheiro, standing on top of the championship, pretty much on pole the championship. He's got one hand on the trophy already, could do a few squats right now and then lift that sucker up next week, just like Manchester United did with the Carabao Cup this morning. Ooh, yeah. With 824 points ahead of Jason Green, Felix Simoes, and Kane Lasky and Megan Overstreet, your top 5 in our Spec 1s. Over to Charles for our Spec 2s.
All right. In Spec 2s, we got Todd Hansen and Ian Gibson in the top 2 spots. The gap.
Tom Gradwell, Adam Bradshaw, and Jim Brewster, your top 5. Antonio Reese is in 9th.
Yeah. I mean, and that's shocking to me because he's had some really, really good races this season. So I'm guessing that he had an off week at some point in time that I just forgot about. So I gave him a little more credit than
he hasn't raced in 3 races.
Oh, that'll do it. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he is missing. He's only running 5 races. So
he is miles ahead of Charlie Carl, the other driver that only has 5 races on there, and he's also ahead of a few drivers that have 7 spots. So whenever Antonio Reese is on track, he's going to bring it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we see, and also Murakami and Monty, 23 points separating the top 2. They've kind of passed that championship lead back and forth during the course of the season. So both drivers really need to have a strong race today.
So our qualifying order still is Antonio Reese up on provisional pole, that monstrous lap of 225, 893. Laps around here are going to be very long, so we aren't going to be seeing a 40-lap race. It's going to be about 20 laps, I believe.
Yeah, maybe even less.
Yeah, with that pit entry, it's a pretty tight pit entry, single file, and it's got a lot of rights and lefts and turns in there. So some of these drivers might need to work on their practice of the pit entry. The pit exit is very easy to do. Just don't go out wide immediately because there are some pylons that will give you an unsafe pit release. I don't know about give you damage, but they're pretty stuck in there.
Yeah, I don't think they give damage, but you're absolutely right on the unsafe pit exit. They will give you a black flag. Yeah, it's kind of weird that the pit entry is basically it's a straight line, then a left-hand turn, and then it's like somebody just forgot what straight was. And it's just little kinks here and there, and so it's a very tricky little pit entry. But if you get it right, though, you can make up a few seconds on the pit cycle.
I have seen a few drivers just straight line it before.
Yes, yeah. There is a straight line through there, but it's once again, I think you're catching gravel on both sides as you're trying to do it.
I never said it was a smart idea.
It's a low percentage. It's a low percentage move. How about that?
Speaking of low percentage moves, are we going to be seeing a last lap jump Hail Mary for anybody here today?
My guess would be Stevie Ray would be very upset with that if anybody tried that maneuver. I don't necessarily know. I did not hear the briefing. My guess is that would be highly frowned upon.
I've always wondered. This is kind of why I'm not a racer in any series currently. And thankfully, any series I ever think about racing in, they never go to Bathurst because I always wanted to do this. The very final lap, if I'm battling for the lead, if I do the jump and I land it, will that win count and should that win count? You do the jump and you land it.
So the answer to that question is no. And I know this because I was watching a few streamers. There was a streamer that did attempt that. He did successfully make the jump and land it. However, he got a black flag for cutting the track. So
okay, I know you'll get black flagged, but should that withstand?
Okay, so it depends. If you're more than 40 seconds ahead of P2 and you do that, then the answer would be, I guess, yes. Technically, it would, because you were the first car to finish, and you took even after your penalty was. However, I think that that streamer also got a iRacing ban because he did it on a stream. So, which is why I say that that Stevie may have an issue with it if somebody attempted it.
Also, for the iRacing employee watching this stream, I'm not condoning that you should do it, and I'm definitely not thinking about doing this the next time any of my series I race in go to Bathurst. Please not look at my driving history.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess, like I said, I guess it's possible, but probably not the smartest idea. And now I think after the race is over with, I think we may be in for a treat.
Yeah, after the race, they're definitely going to because it's Weekend Warriors. They're going to do it.
Oh, I mean, even when you're doing the 12-hour, it's any race you do at Bathurst, that's kind of you make sure you've got fuel to get back around for that one extra lap.
But we are currently looking at 47 cars out there on the grid today. We got 45 cars driving around currently in qualifying. 2 cars haven't came out onto the track, and I believe they are late entries. So we are going to have 2 cars starting from the back of the grid. Charles Vaccaro and Jiri at the back of the grid. One is a master driver, and the other one is a 079, and I believe that would count as Spec 2. It's probably the lowest triple-digit number we have with a 0 in front of it. I was not expecting the 0 to make the cut for Spec 2.
That is interesting. Wow. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We get to doing the lineup.
Oh yeah, this lineup might get a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy, Bathurst and craziness goes hand to hand like peanut.
Of where you're going to get not just a wreck, but a multi-car incident.
Short pit lap today, so pace lap today, so it's gonna be pretty fast. Great Antonio Reese starts up a pole ahead of Alice Plava, Paulo Ligori, and Marco Panero, followed by Thomas Renders, York Monty, JC Green, Felix Samoas, Bobby West, Tabino, your top 10.
All right, P11, you got Simon Mayer, Steve Elson in 12th, Michael Dobeck in 13th, Todd Hansen, Ryan Walker, Kurt Nunez, Chris Murakami down in 17th, Devin Kelleher in 18th, Bradford Gould and Ken Batley rounds out your top 20.
Andrew Love's right behind him with Megan Overstreet beside him, with Michael Nelson and Dan Wood behind those two. They're followed by Jim Brewster, Marco Traspidi, Paul Jackson, and Ian Gibson, Eddie Campbell, and Mike Knutson, your top 30.
Wow, Jeff Jacobson in 31st, Brad Cathcart, our home track favorite there in 32nd. Stevie Ray in 33rd, Jeff Canner, Bob Kern, and Stephen Mitchell in 36th. Darren Keene in 37th, Flavio Andolo in 38th, Gary Woolbolt, and Caleb Pocock in P40.
Behind them is Eduardo Dantes, Bruno Conti, Jeff Horniak, and Fabio Scali, and Giri in 45th, followed by Charlie Picaro, and Gianni Longhin are back for drivers did not put in a valid lap time or did not able to get put into a lap, but I believe I will seeing most of those drivers except for Charles Vaccaro lined up on the grid. 46 cars ready to start rock and roll here at Bathurst. And if you're in the session, you can hear Stevie Ray giving off that pre-race spiel that he always does. Thank you, Stevie Ray, and all the hard work you do. And especially to all the hard work that Race Voice puts into this series. Can't do this series without Race Voice. To find out more about Race Voice and go fast with the power of Race Voice, just go to racevoice.com, as they are always helping out. This is thank you once again to Race Voice, as the pace car defies all the physics and blasts through a few pillars as we get ready to rock and roll down under here at Bathurst as we go green, green, green. Antonio Reese immediately under pressure by Alex Plava. Plava right onto the bumper, look down to the inside. That's Marco Panero sending it down low into turn one and able to jump up into second place. A few drivers at Hell's Corner getting a little bit sideways immediately. One car got pushed out wide. That was Paulo Gori dropping down 2 spots, but it's Reese followed by Panero, Plava, Renders, Gori, Samoas, Monty, Green, Tubino, and West. Your top 10 as they fly up through the hill. As they enter, well, this is where the danger zone pretty much starts up the mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where we start getting, as we see a car going wide there.
Yeah, 2 cars going wide. Watch on them that exit. There's a curve out there, and these cars, they don't have that horsepower to get the back end rotated around through that corner, but it's still a very easy opportunity to get the car upset as they fly through the cutting for the first time very cleanly through there.
Very nice.
It looks like these cars and the drivers, they might have their feet going through the ground and actually pedaling themselves up that hill, because these cars with such low horsepower, it doesn't look like they can carry all that speed up through that hill, and it kind of looks like a struggle bus.
It kind of does. Now we get down to the dipper here for the first time. Let's make sure everybody gets through there cleanly, because we did see a few cars backing down the hill. Back down the mountain during qualifying.
Yeah, and there it is. Hansen's around, and there is parking lot number 1 of the day. You can see the 044 Megan Overstreet trying to find a way around the 312 with Todd Hansen. Well, that was the wrong place to be. But everybody, they had that little spin, but they all checked up, and they all kept it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happened for the first parking lot of the day. Todd Hansen heading down through the dipper.
Is this just a little bit of a walk-up checkup, or was there a little bit more of a...
Yeah, got a little
got a little loose on that left-hander going down
Oh, and
into
a
the
big
dipper.
shot to the nose of the 88.
Yeah.
Ryan Walker taking a big hit as well as Todd Hansen. So 2 cars with damage that I should expect enter pit lane pretty early. Megan Overstreet getting a little friendly with the 297 ahead of Bradford Gold. Almost making contact as they're trying to pass 3 wide on that back straightaway as cars are entering the pit lane right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I did notice that Murakami was also mixed in with that group, so he's actually lost quite a bit of time to Monty, which obviously is, we're looking at that as the championship battle in the Masters class.
Monero takes over the lead. Well, as soon as I say that, Antonio Reese retakes the lead as these two are battling with each other up through the mountain on that front straightaway. On the first straightaway, I should say. Then you got the front straightaway, then we got the first straightaway, and then we got the last straightaway. I don't know the actual names of the straightaways here at Bathurst, but they're all next to each other.
Well, I can tell you the last one is Conroe. That's the one I know. I think the first one is just they call the start-finish straight. And then coming up the mountain, I think is named, but I'm not really sure what it is.
Well, I can tell you what we'll tell you what it's named to iRacing UI and its lovely track map. If the names are actually working and not glitched out.
Right. So this is 49 going a little
nope,
wide.
There is
there
no straight name.
All right, there we go.
It's Hell's Corner, then Griffith's Bend.
Oh, yep.
Uh-oh, and bang into the wall.
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. Playba, yep, and the 41 car also is involved in that, Renders. So yeah, Playba was already, it was wide coming through on Skyline, and it looked like he got loose going down into the dipper.
Yeah, Renders had a separate incident. It looks like he saw what happened to Playba, and then just started braking because, well, there's that incident. He completely missed him. Oh, then he locked up, and then bang to the side. The 80 got into him.
That was a collision due to collision avoidance.
I should say we go from one collision to another because Eduardo Dantes is way down the field. And the front of that car is not looking right.
Yeah, right front's all messed up.
This is later down, heading into Forest Elbow. Car ahead going pretty wide, lose control right in front of Dantes, and I think Dantes gets tapped from behind him. He goes for a little bit of a spin cycle. Nothing he could have done to avoid that one.
Yeah, that was Mike Newton in the 383 that gave him the tap.
So might he be to buy Eduardo some beer after that?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right.
Jordan Monty is now in first place in the Masters. Something has happened to Antonio Reese, who's dropped all the way down to 16th.
Yeah, he was challenging was in the lead. Had the pole time. So let's see if we get the replay on that.
Yeah, there's a big off track, so we're going to be seeing what's happening to Antonio Reese. This is after the chase heading into Murray's corner. Does he just put in a little bit too much mustard into this corner? Yes, he does. Back end rotated in the grass and right on the exit, and he takes the long way around. Has to keep it onto the track and it out of car's way. And, well, that perfect start for Antonio Reese. Not the most starts in the Masters category, but always still up there with the pace. Oh, this is probably his worst race so far, but hey, the race is not over. We're only 6 minutes into this baby.
Yeah, it seems like forever. Yeah, so, obviously, see another car wide on Skyline there. Was a bad place to spin, but he did a very smart thing, rejoined safely, let several cars go by, found a gap. Didn't look like he hit anything, maybe scraped the wall a little bit, so the car should be fine. And obviously he's got pace, so he'll start looking to work his way back up.
It is giving the wall a signature like Scott McLaughlin did to me the other day on the Boston Grand Prix.
There we go.
Thanks, Scott, for that bump drive, by the way. Totally did not spin me out. chaos. Scott McLaughlin also experienced driving around the Bathurst 1000, multiple-time Bathurst 1000 winner, as this is Caleb Pocock.
Yep.
Around.
And
The forced elbow. Well, there's 1 point, there's 2 points, there's 3 points. I think he's on 4 points now. And this is what happened right here. And I feel like we just put a little bit too much Vegemite on. Oh, no, he's hit the landmine on the inside of the wall.
He has indeed. And that's why he's taking him so many points to get the turn. I think the left front's broken at this point.
That would explain it. Yeah, that car is not looking good. The car that is looking good, though, is Mola Gori. Steve moves up into second place ahead of Felix. Marco Pinero has pretty much checked out in front of everybody else. 3 seconds up the road. You saw a little speck of a car. There's that car again.
There he is.
That's Marco.
That seems like that's an ongoing theme. Pinero out front. Obviously he was racing Reyes. And then once Reyes had his spin, so now he's out there by himself, which can be good, but, at a track like this, you lose focus. It only takes a half second of lost focus, and the next thing you know, you're the next victim of the mountain.
Yeah, you do not want to be a victim of this mountain, because the mountain will strike back and, well, make you want to take a quick stop to the nearest corner store to drown out your sorrows.
Absolutely. Just a little lag.
Well, yeah, a little bit of a blink in and out.
Lag.
A lot of, it's not stable.
No, it's not. Which we've talked about that before. It's you get a car around you that's blinking like that. It's very, very. It makes you.
Ray, too, that he's in front of it. I think Stevie just informed him like, "Hey, Aiden, you're recording way too much."
Yeah.
As this is Monty with pressure on Bobby West. Brakes early, allows Bobby to go way deep into that corner as he takes a big chunk of curb right there. But watch out, Monty, because you got Thomas Renders on your bumper. Renders being opportunistic. Might take a look, but he is not. He's going to stay out there.
Yeah, I think Renders may be a little gun shy at this point after his last little incursion he had. So he maybe just is deciding, you know what, I'll wait right here. I'll run some good laps and I'll just stay in line and we'll.
He's got 4 damage. Renders does. The right side of that car.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
It's bent up like an old soda can. If we could go back to Renders, look at the right side of that car. It's all bent up and banged up. A few other cars having that issue as well, but Renders has the biggest issue. See, yeah, there's Thomas Renders and Monty around the outside, but he goes very wide. He has to hit the brakes to avoid the wall on Griffin's Bend, but this is on board of Thomas Renders.
Yeah, the outside line in turn 2, looks and body, there's nothing there. It's just it doesn't work. You can't try and make a move on the outside or even hang with the car that's coming up on the inside. It just doesn't work out.
Yeah, okay, so we're looking at Jason Green and Thomas Renders is ahead of him. Look, when Thomas comes across the screen, look at the right side of Thomas's Renders car. You know that little aluminum strip? It's all bent up and down compared to what everybody has.
Oh, yeah, you can see it there.
It's all scraped up right there, and it is just so... he must have really clambered a curb somewhere on this track or hit somebody side by side, because he's the only car that I can see with that little bit of a bend right there. So that's going to be providing a big performance loss in a few of these higher speed corners, which there are not a lot of, to be fair, on this course, but it's still going to provide a little bit more stability.
Yeah, for sure. You see, he was at the front of this train a minute ago, which I think happens a lot. It happens a lot in the spec racers. You're at the front one lap, you're at the back the next lap.
It's kind of like Peloton.
It kind of really is.
Yeah, but except of racing in a criterium, and bicycle stuff and running out of standing on these guys are just running out of room on the racetrack.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you know, and he went wide in turn 2. That's why I put him back there. So,
And I feel like this might become a pit party.
Here we go.
Lonnie and Green into the pits very early.
And this is really early for Bonnie. He's not usually one to take the early pit, but
Undercut. He feels like
he's-
passing
yep.
is too hard around here. Still, he's going to get his time when it's given to him, and just put the pedal to the metal and try to retire that lot through for dub.
that's it. Yeah, I think the undercut will play well here. I think they'll do a good job with that.
Especially if rivals ahead of him get caught up into an incident right ahead. And speaking of ahead of him, well, this is the battle for second place between Gory and Samoas. Well, Gory retakes second place right in front of Felix ahead of him. New fast lap is by Alex Plava, third in line of that group.
Yeah, getting the benefit of that toe. But I noticed
the cutting it upward Gory's corner as they put the pedal to the metal, and then seriously, it looks like the drivers are leaning forward to get these cars pushed up there.
They may be. But
I know
noticed
they're going about 90 miles an hour going up that hill. It does not look good.
Yeah. I did notice that Panero really hasn't stretched that gap out. Still 3 seconds. So these guys, he's in front, but he's not getting away. So you know, these guys still have a chance to maybe work together and make up that time.
Let's respect to leader Kelleher in 9th ahead of our Masters leader Antonio Reese. Currently Masters leader Antonio Reese fell all the way down, but he's up into 10th overall. But George Monti was our Masters leader when he headed into the pit lane. And Reese, after that early mistake, is trying to regain the spots. And
Yeah.
this is the best way to do it. Find a partner, draft with them, and try to pull away for everybody else. And it looks like a pretty clean track ahead of them as well.
Yeah, a little bit of the gap between them and Dobek and Renders in 7 and 8, so they can work together and just kind of work together and try and make up that ground. As you see that P7 and 8 Dobek and Renders there in front of them. So yeah, it's he's making up his ground from his mistake. He's doing it smartly. He's not making any. Not making these dumb moves or anything like that, as we see.
Into the pits, cutting all the corners too.
There we go.
As well, entering that. And what has happened to Plava ahead of him? Well, Plava for a second, his car was looking like it was flipped upside down and everything, and the car was all scraped up. And then Iris said, "Oh, you aren't supposed to see that," and snapped it back how it should be. I'm guessing that is how his car should be, and I'm not imagining things, but what should I know? It's been a long day.
Yeah, it has been a long day. So, yeah, it's just looks like standard pit stops. I'm sure those guys, if they've got any fast repair, get back on track and start working to probably work together to try and make up spots if they can. The battle for 9th place between Walker and Murakami. Murakami second in the Masters class. Walker 7th in the Spec 1. As they're working their way up the hill. Coming around to Dick Smith corner on the Skyline. Do a little lift to the car settle and work through there. And then down the hill as we start the downward trend back down into the Dipper.
My least favorite part of this track. I've always hit the brakes way too early, and I've always been the cause of every incident behind me. I don't know why. I think it's because I was like, you know what? I ain't for this. I'm just going to hit the brakes early. I don't know why I get all these crazy fast people like, what are you doing? Brake so early, and then all this chaos happened. But hey, it's what I do when I like my safety rating.
Yeah, and I did see some damage on the front of Murakami's. Got some looked like some right front damage. It's got the front fender caved in just a bit. in that from the early accident. Thank you there, Jonathan, in my ear.
Yeah, Jonathan has been in our ears a lot today.
You see Samoa's in P3. We'll say this though, Gory has kind of checked out from this group, and he's knocked a second off the time of Panero, so the gap's now 2 seconds between first and second place.
Yeah, he's running for the hills right now, and running for another state in another city in New South Wales here, as he pretty much wanted to continue on the public roads and just go straight through Hill Corner.
Yeah, absolutely. He just wanted to do a little exploring, but didn't look like it cost him a tenth or two. But you know, if he picked up 3/10 the lap prior to that, so it seems like he's got some good pace in the car, at least at this point in the race. As the fuel's burning off, they're getting toward that halfway point. And we'll start seeing lots and lots of pit road stops here very soon. We see the battle here between the 116 car. You see the view from behind Bobby West, who's currently running P3 in class with Felix Samoas behind. Oh, that's the top 116. It's the 31 car, but top 116 motorsport. Let's make sure I get the numbers right. So they're working their way down the hill into Forest Elbow. Very tight line there by Samoas coming through that corner. He's got a really good run heading down, as I mentioned earlier, on the front of Murakami's car. That probably helped make that pass a little bit easier. And so now you've got Murakami race in 10th, battling for the at least the provisional lead in the Masters class. As so another battle here on track. 917 car of Mitchell, 972 of Keene. Got Trish Speedy in the 767 car on the inside. Was able to pick up one spot there. And Woolbolt in the background there as the fourth car in this group.
Trish Speedy's still trying to catch up with them as they head up to one of the most famous turns in this course. They fly up through the mountain and pelt to the metal right now. Just trying to get into that draft. Stephen Mitchell up ahead of them. As they're heading up towards Skyline. A beautiful place to watch a race up here. Some of the biggest crashes actually happen up towards here because the track kind of widens, and drivers, when they get up here, be like, this is the time to overtake.
Yeah. And you've got about 4 good seconds before you have to start braking again to get set up for this section of corners right here. Yeah, I'm so glad I'm watching this race and not actually.
Yeah, I think we're both. I think I'm with you as well. Kelleher heading into the pits, as well as Chris Murakami and Antonio Reese, who has jumped up with Antonio for the lead of the Masters. So they both head into the pit lane, and did Murakami just pass Reese? No, wait, no, he was ahead of him.
Yeah, he was ahead of him.
That car, though, is looking pretty worse for wear, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that damage that he got in the early accident is going to get that fixed here right there. Perfect. Now it's all better. So it's going to be interesting where they come out in relation to Monty.
Behind him.
Behind him. Yep.
Because they are.
Yeah, because the question is how far behind him at this point, right? Is, you know.
Yes. About York Monty is currently sitting in 13th.
Right.
As Murakami rejoins in 18th. That is about 10 seconds.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. 11.3 based on the SDK timing and scoring.
I just looked at the numbers. I just added that up in my head.
Dude, that was awesome.
It was a guess. If you want today's lottery's numbers, DM me. I'll split that 50-50.
The check will be in the mail, sir.
All right, 15, 25, 72, and 2.
Too wide through the cutting. Yeah, they made it through.
That's not something you want to do.
No, it's not.
And watch the 215. Gary Woodbolt is currently having to look as well. And into the wall.
Yeah, the 972 car of Keene didn't look comfortable basically from the time he went too wide through the cutting, and it just seemed like he was just way off pace and just kind of out of his rhythm. And so
he's off track too.
Yeah.
Stephen Mitchell reportedly hit it as well. I don't see any damage on that car, but he's driving like he did hit the wall.
Little paint scraping, maybe. I mean, it looks like it's tracking straight. Looks like it's steering straight. That was close.
Yeah. That will make you pucker up a bit.
Yeah. All right. So back to the battle third. Yep.
Samoas versus West. Felix on to the inside, West on the outside. They go over the hill and into Griffin's Bend.
To be a little blink.
Yeah.
Oh, big.
Dobek just dropped away from this fight. I think he picked up a slowdown.
Yeah, very possible. You can get a slowdown on the exit of it if you're not careful. Yeah, that's a really big blink.
I don't think it's a blink.
I don't think it's a blink at this point. I think that may be it for Tabino. He may be disconnected here pretty quickly.
Well, Tabino's engine has gone astray. And iRacing, the mechanical failures of iRacing with real life mechanical failures. You actually money shifting your engine, which with the high rise of sequentials is very hard, but still plentiful to do. And internet.
Yeah. So we've got the top 9 cars that still have yet to pit. So you've got, people like Flavio Angelo in P9, who's up 29 positions. And we've got Bradford Gould in P8, Megan Overstreet in P7, double-digit positions. Obviously, we're getting up to the point where they're going to be close to out of fuel, so we're going to see them either this lap or next, I imagine, at the 27-minute mark for them to come in and take the fuel as we see Pinero and Gory coming in.
Marco Pinero,
good
that's
entry.
A straight line entrance.
Yeah, that was a really good entry. Gorian right behind.
Felix continuing on as well as Bobby West.
Interesting call.
It's bold strategy, Cotton. We're going to see if it works for him.
Yep, Overstreet's in.
And here goes Pinero out of the pit box. Very fast pitter, Marco Pinero. He always takes a little bit, as much as he needs, and it doesn't look like it's enough at times, but he is within the realm of possibility here. Quickest of that group, but not the quickest overall. York Bonnie. No, it's Alex Plava with the quickest overall, a 10.7 seconds stopped.
That's interesting.
Simon Blair did a 10.2.
Well, Ian Gibson did a 9.7, 9.8. I'm sorry, but I'm looking at the numbers. Most cars are taking between 12 and 13 seconds of pit time of fuel. So I'm guessing that if you're under 11 and a half, 11, then you're really pushing the envelope to just grab a couple of spots.
But also remember, if you have fast repairs, it takes about 2 seconds to complete those fast repairs.
Yeah, absolutely. See the battle for P16 here with Vishluzel. We'll try that. Maybe he won't kill me. And Wood and Overstreet. Those are the two easier ones.
For a second, I thought I'd gone into a different dimension, and I thought you were quoting Snoop Dogg at one point.
No. I don't think you're gonna ever hear me quote Snoop.
Well, you got close
anyway.
with
This Sluzel.
yeah, Jiri.
Jiri. We don't call him Jiri.
It's an easy first name.
Yeah.
Top 3 into the
There we
pits.
go.
Very fast into the pit lane for Felix. Might watch out, see if he gets a penalty for that, because he was storming into the line.
So do have a few more cars that are still out there that haven't pitted. I would think that they're all coming in this lap.
And here goes Marco Pinero to retake the lead of this race. Do not see a situation where that's not happening, because this just happened in front of your guys.
Absolutely. Gory in P2. Gap
Unless he puts in a
3.5
little
seconds.
bit too much mustard on these eggs and then hits the wall, but nope, he's continue on.
Yeah, so Pinero was actually about 7/8 tenths faster than Gory on the pit cycle overall, and has managed to add another half second to and stretch that gap out. It was 2 seconds before the pit stop, and now it's 3.6. Jorg Monty back up to P4. So I think that played in his favor, that early pit stop. It seems like he was running, what, 9th or 10th when he came in?
Yes, he was down in 10th. Then he pit really early, and the undercut really working out for Jorg Monty. Sits 4th
Absolutely.
overall, and the lead of the Masters category.
Cleveland, West behind. West's having a really good race. Up 3 spots.
And also somebody having a very good race. Devin Kelleher up 10 spots to lead Spec 2.
Yeah, absolutely. He is having a blast out there today.
Currently, we got a tie for our biggest mover. Flavio Andalo and Jiri both up 22 spots, respectively. And Jiri to be making that list of overtakes in their debut races. Something not to cough at.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's a really good.
Even if he has the most unique number on the grid. The only triple digits with a 0. I don't know what class that will...
Actually, no. Megan Overstreet.
Megan Overstreet, 044, 044. Yeah, I'm glad I was proven wrong right there, because if not, it will look like I didn't read the rule book.
Yep, she's got damage on the right front also.
Yeah, looks like she might have hit a wall at some point, and that is a very easy dipper exit curve, and it looks like she is crabbing a bit.
Yeah, I think the car is hurting.
As Jonathan goes to find that replay, if it is there. So it might have happened in an earlier crash where she was kind of involved, just with a little bit of a bump at the rear, and that's what happened. But that car does not look straight. But it's continuing on.
I mean, it's going to be in the last. It's going to be in the last 2 or 3 laps because she pitted fairly late. Yeah, so it's really interesting. I hate to see that. She's, I kind of gave her the nickname Miss Consistency, because she's always. It seems like she might not start in the top 10. She always finds a way to end up in the top 10. By the time the race is over, I think she's going to struggle with that car for another 6.5 minutes or so. see Pleva running fifth, right behind our Masters leader, George Monty. We've got little 2 and 3 car battles all over the track at this point. But, you know, at least the lead for now, it looks like it's going Panero's way. 3.5 second gap to P2 with Gory, and then Simoas in P3. Taking a look at Jacobson with 40. Oh, there's a slow car.
Uh-oh. That looks like a money shift.
Yep.
Nope. That looks like a flat front right tire.
It does look like a flat front right tire. Oh, yeah.
But that is more like a unattached front right tire.
Right. Oh yeah. He's already struggling with that car.
And somebody says Griffin's Bend.
Or Forced Elbow, the outside wall.
Yeah, Forced Elbow. That's the corner I was going for.
Yep.
Survey says yes. See what happened to Dan. Round the outside move.
Oh, is it going to be
It goes out a little bit wide. Oh, stayed it.
He held it. Interesting. We'll just have to follow this for a minute here. Let's see.
We should. I want to watch it. No, Jonathan, don't go back light. Oh.
Too late. Too late. Anyway, the car's
the car's done. He's done. He's out.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Marco Panero putting a lap on the 9.4 of Jeff Cantor. Look at those times. Panero. Mr. Consistency right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's running really consistent laps, but then he lost 1 second in the lap out. And
I think it was sightseeing.
It is possible. Like I said, you get out there by yourself, and if you lose focus for a half second, you know, it's you know, you could end up, as we saw with some of the other cars, bouncing off a wall, missing a braking point, and now you've lost your pace. And Gory is making this last minute charge here to try and put a claim on the lead.
And Gory is pushing.
He's using every centimeter of the track.
Every millimeter.
So he's coming up on Cantor. That's the left.
Yes, that is Jeff ahead of it. He's going to get a good tow.
He absolutely is.
We're looking at 2 to go after this. 4 minutes, 3 minutes remaining. 2 minute and 30 second lap time. So, you know, if they have a little bit of an issue, it could be white flag. It won't be, but it could be. Cantor braking early, allowing Gore to get really close, but he probably wants to be past him already because that probably would have thrown him off. And
Nice.
Cantor gets on some brakes.
Getting
Gap
out of
2.7 seconds. Gore, Panero. They come across the line with just 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
That was close.
I feel like we got 2 laps to go unless there's a parking lot of it.
I mean, based on the fast time, that was about 3 seconds from being white flag. So very, very close there. See Panero and Gory heading up the straight. Well, no, as we looking at the track map, see a few cars in front, but they're pretty well spaced out. I don't think the closing speed is all that great here, so I don't think that there's going to be much in the way of an issue having to deal with lap traffic over these last couple of laps. Looking at the battle for 5th and 6th.
Yeah, plan to get a little bit of a push from Bobby up at Skyline.
Yeah, real tight. This is kind of looking for that way around. A lot of times you just got to wait for the guy in front to make a mistake and hope he doesn't take you with him, especially here.
Yeah, the Skyline is the spot, and the Dipper is the spot that you definitely do not want to have the car in front of you making a mistake.
Oh, no.
Fly out of Forest Elbow.
Yep.
The one tracks that you do not want to have the car in front of you be making a mistake, because the other places that you would, most of the times you see the car ahead of you make a mistake. And Bobby West closing out like a cruise missile on your Monty. Monty is going slow.
That was a little.
That was very weird.
That was very strange.
Did Monty tap the wall at a spot?
I mean, if he did, I didn't see it. He was just kind of running in front. He was, as we see the white flag flying.
Does he have fuel?
That
Oh,
may
and
be
Playla's in the pit lane.
Oh, there we go. I heard the little fuel call.
White flag in the air. They cross the line with 3 seconds left. One more lap to go for Pinero.
And that may be why, Monty, that you may be right. That may be because he wasn't expecting that extra lap to get lap 17 in the books. So he may be having to lift and save to try and make it around for this lap.
Yeah, a little bit of lift and close action on this final
Rest
lap.
in the pits.
Who has enough fuel to make it across the line? New fast lap by Michael Dobeck. Sitting in 8th place right now. This is him getting a little bit of a push from Ryan Walker behind him.
Yeah, I noticed Rest jumped in the pits also for, I'm going to guess, fuel as well, which he was in a battle with Murakami, which for second. We see Gibson in the pits. So yeah, this extra lap threw a couple people out of sorts there with their fuel strategy.
Not even 20 laps in this race, 17 laps. And Marco Pinero in the lead. I can tell you he's lifting and coasting now because he's lost 4/10 so far this lap. Does he have enough fuel coming out of Forest Elbow, or is it Polo Ligori who's putting pedal to the metal right now? Is Pinero going to have to fuel save through the cutting?
Kami rounds out the top 10. Overstreet, once again, P11, but she's going to be P8 in Spec 1. It's another top 10 for her. Pleva ends up getting P12 after that late pit. Bradford Gould in 13th. Jacobson, Angelo, Mayer, Batley, Love, Race, and Brewster. Another big group of the Masters class cars. A little battle for some positions here at the very end of the race with Mitchell, Nelson, and Gibson. 2 Masters cars and a Spec 1. So we get down here to Murray's Corner. Mitchell's going to get P28, Gibson 29th, and then Nelson in 30th. Nelson might have been kind of laying back on that also, like like he may be out of fuel as well. Yeah, there's just cars stopped all over the track. Yeah, I think that last lap just kind of threw, because it was, as we said, it was about 3 seconds short of being white flag on lap 16 as opposed to 17. Then we've got, so we had a late fuel issue for several of our cars, kind of shook up the finishing order. As we hear the call for, hey, where can I go talk to some people in the interview room? So we do have our Masters winner, Normani, in the interview waiting area. We can get him pulled up here. We'll give him a talk as we see. Jorg, this is Charles up in the booth. Congratulations on the Masters win. Looked like we had maybe a little late fuel strategy call there that shook up the order at the end of this race.
Yes. I miscalculated a little bit my pit stop. Yeah, but finally I got 0.0 liters left. I just made it above the line, so perfectly done. But otherwise, I really struggled driving behind cars down the dipper. When everybody else was gone, I thought, okay, I'm gonna go into the pits, and Jason wanted to go with me. He made a mistake, and that wasn't so good afterwards. But otherwise, yeah, we entered the pits, we left the pits, and then we could drive on our own again, and that was much better. So I could catch up one after the other one. And yeah, so it just made it through, but
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It did look like that you made up several positions from that undercut that just kind of worked out for you. And then, you know, we had, like I said, we had several cars at the end that just, you know, we did the calculation, kind of did rough calculations in my head, missed the white flag call on 16 instead of 17 by like 3 seconds. So if you'd been 3 seconds slower, you probably get a white flag, and that would have changed how things ended.
Yeah. I got lucky. For once, my season this season, my races are not so good. I'm really unlucky, and most of the time in the qualifying, I'm unlucky with other drivers. I'm unlucky with myself because of mistakes I do. But this time it was okay. I love any kind of car, and